Hello,
So,
everyone.
good evening and everyone. Welcome to the free session of DevOps plus AWS. And today we are going to cover some modules which are basic to it. So, welcome to you all. Over to you, sir.
Yes, thank you very much. So I'm just sharing the screen. So for today's session, we will talk about the AWS and why we are using it first. So the service that are available within a public cloud platforms are more in number. Now, AWS, which is a platform from Amazon, and the full form of AWS is Amazon Web Services. So here we are actually renting for data center services. So we can have compute. You can easily relate compute with the RAM, then networking, databases, security, along with AI, ML, data science, etc., and lot more fields are there, which can be used via AWS services. Now, this AWS is a platform from Amazon. Parallelly, we can have Azure from Microsoft. Then we are having GCP, which is from Google. So the market leader for public cloud is AWS. That's why we will use AWS resources for the deployment purposes on an infrastructure level for our DevOps course. Now, why we are selecting AWS? Because as per the recent research paper by the Gartner, you can easily see that AWS is a market leader in infrastructure level and cloud platform level. After that, we are having Microsoft and then Google, then Oracle Cloud. These are some leaders. And IBM Cloud, Alibaba Cloud, Hawaii Cloud, Tencent Cloud. These are the niche players right now. So this is regarding public cloud. So there are types of cloud, and the types of cloud that are present are public cloud. When in cloud service is directly used by the customers level, and if any developers or administrator, they want to contribute, they want to use it for the organization level, that will be called as a public cloud. And the services are available for everyone. Then we are having another type, that is private cloud. So on a management level, when we don't want to share our resources from the organization, we can use private cloud. And combination of both public and private, that will be hybrid cloud. Also, when we can use two or more public clouds, like suppose we are having AWS and Azure, both public clouds in organization, we can use both, and that will be called as multi-cloud technology. So within multi-cloud, you can save a lot more money for the client and customer level. And if you are very initial at the stage when you are learning about the cloud, you can start with practicing on AWS. So within AWS, we are having 200 plus services. And these services are free up to some limit. So if you want, you can directly check for AWS free tier page where limitations are being shown. Right now, I'm just showing you AWS free tier page and you will get some idea about it. So the type of services that we are getting: compute, database, storage, containers, web and mobile apps, serverless, and learning, and machine learning. And if you're checking for this particular specific service, that is Amazon EC2, Elastic Compute Cloud, which is used for launching virtual machines, which is free for 750 hours for T2 micro and T3 micro type of instances. If you're checking for storage service, which is available for 5 GB free, then RDS is a database server, which is free for 750 hours. In case you're selecting for underlying infrastructure, which is small in size. So a lot more services are there, and their free tier limitations can be shown in a aws.amazon.com webpage of free tier, and you can check for the same. Now let's go through a basic definition of cloud computing. So basic definition of cloud computing, and that can be asked in an interview. You can say that it's on-demand delivery of IT resources, and these resources are with pay-as-you-go pricing, like a electricity bill. The compute resources, networking, database, and security are available for you throughout the AWS console. Here, within AWS console, you can check for particular service tab, and there are blades. You can select the settings from there. Now, whenever you are selecting any configuration, you are actually using a rack from a data center. So it's a renting service. You are renting for IT resources. It's not like you will use, you are handling only software throughout the browser. You are renting for physical hardware resources on an infrastructure level. So the first service that we will try today, that will be EC2, that is Elastic Compute Cloud. Now, when any organizations are there and they need to have their own servers, they have to go with upfront cost. So they are buying a physical resources, and then they are using those for development purposes and hosting websites and applications. So a lot more money will be utilized to make this type of infrastructure on an organization level, rather than buying these all infrastructure things. Now you can rent for services using AWS console. So with every organization, you can have a root AWS account, and from there you can create employee accounts, and projects are being handled by providing some permissions and responsibilities to the employees. So I'm having a root console now, and also via using it, I can create employee accounts too on an organization level. So all services can be shown in a root account, but when you will work on an organization level, only services that are accessible to you will be shown. So I'm in a AWS console now, and the URL for it will be aws.amazon.com. The service that we will try today, that is EC2 for launching of machines. So first practice we will do, that will be launching of EC2, and here we will select for OS. That OS we will select as a Linux OS. Now this particular virtual machine will be launched in a particular geographical location. These geographical locations are, for examples, like North Virginia, Mumbai, UK, US, lot more regions are there. So if you're checking for AWS console, at the right hand side, you can have listing of all resources, all geographical resources which are available for you. So these are the group of data centers, and these are having specific codes as per the geographical location. So right now I'm just selecting North Virginia. So if I'm launching any resources via selecting this tab, these will be deployed in a specific region. And I'm going to connect from my this physical machine to resources which will be available in a North Virginia right now, that will be deployed by. So first of all, let's launch a server. So these servers are helpful when you will host any website or applications. So I'm clicking on launch instance tab now. I can name this as a web server. So here I'm entering a name. As every machine is unique, you can have some naming convention, your understanding. After that, we can select for OS. So a lot more OS are present, and more specifically, when we are talking about servers, these are the Linux servers. So I'm selecting for Amazon Linux over here for the primary practice, and I'm selecting Amazon Linux 2023 AMI. AMI stand for Amazon Machine Image. We are selecting for architecture, that is 64-bit. Now here you can have an instance size. It's like you are buying a physical computer, and you can have the configuration for it. You can relate for the same. So likewise in AWS, you can select for instance type. So with every instance type, there is a fixed configuration. So if you're selecting for T2 micro type of instance, it will provide you 1 GB of RAM and 1 CPU core on an architecture level. This particular instance is free for 750 hours for every month. So if you are totally new for AWS, you can practice on this type of instance. But if you will work in an industry, so a lot more high type of instances are required on an architecture level, and they are more in cost. So here we are creating a key pair, and that can be used for authentication purposes. So when I'm connecting from my physical machine to virtual machine after the deployment, this specific key pair will be used. So I can click on create a new key pair. I can name this as my key pair. So when I'm entering these details and clicking on create key pair, this key pair will be downloaded into my download section. And the key pair that I have tried, that was for .pm with the .pm extension. So when key pair is of .pm extension, that can be used with Open SSH protocol. And when you are having Windows 7, 8, you can download, or when we are connecting via PuTTY software, you can download private key, that is .ppk with .ppk extension. So I have created a key pair. Now we will go with the networking setting. And within networking, as with every computer, we are having LAN, WAN, Wi-Fi. Here, when you are having AWS environment, within that, logical network is a VPC, which is called as Virtual Private Cloud. And within this VPC, our EC2 instance will be launched. And one more thing, here we are having subnets. So when we are talking about subnet, these are part of networks. So along with this configuration, here I'm selecting default subnet and default VPC. Then we are having firewall setting. The firewall setting, which is called as security group in AWS, and which will allow the traffic. There are two types of rules are there: inbound traffic and outbound traffic. When I'm remotely connecting to any machine, so here I'm having my physical machine and my virtual machine, which is in North Virginia. Here will be our security group, which act as a firewall. So when I'm trying for secure shell connection, I'm trying for SSH connection, which is at port number 22. So there should be one rule present within a security group, then only this connection can happen. So within inbound rule of EC2 instance, we have to add port 22 with some configuration. And that can be done while launching the instances. Also, if you launch the instances, and after that also you can configure it. And I'm allowing traffic on a HTTP and HTTPS. So for HTTP, we are using port number 80. And for HTTPS, by default, we are getting port number 443. And for SSH, we are having 422. So when I am ticking all these options, this type of rule will be automatically added in my EC2 instance inbound rules configuration. So you don't need to remember everything when you are working on a cloud. Every tab is showing you some description. Also, some automatic configuration will be shown too. That's the easy process. And then I'm clicking on launch instance. Here I have selected OS for Amazon Linux. So after you clicking on launch, after few seconds, your install will be in a running state. And then you can connect via SSH. So these servers are on demand, also with the spot instances setting. So you can buy on-demand servers as well. You can go through the spot instances setting as well. That is on a higher level. Right now, if you're totally new for the EC2, you can go with the pay-as-you-go pricing as well. So these are having some fixed pricing. So whenever we have gone with the configuration setting, their pricing for instances was shown in dollars. And when you are stopping any particular instance after the work, or you are terminating the instance, your billing will be stopped. So here you can see that this particular instance is in a running state now. So you can select it. You can click on connect. And you can click on SSH client. Here is a command for connections purposes. So right now I am having PowerShell. If you're on Linux machine or if you're on a Mac, you can open terminal over there. You can navigate to key pair directory, and from there you can paste this command. Right now, my key pair, which is used for connections, is in a downloads folder. So I'm navigating to downloads folder, and here I will try for SSH command. So let's see what's the command is actually. So SSH, which is stand for secure shell, -I, which is for identity. This key pair, which is present in a directory. This one is username. With every machine, you are getting a default username, that is EC2-user, in case you are selecting for Amazon Linux 2023 operating system. And this one is a DNS address. So either you can use DNS address or public IP for the connections. So this is the syntax. You can use username at public IP or DNS along with PEM key and the connection that you will try, that is SSH connection. And now I will press enter over here. So if in security group, I'm allowing the traffic for port number 22, my key pair is right, my path is right, my other details are right, then only I can have a successful connection with accepting the certificate. So here I have entered the yes, and here you can see that right now my PowerShell username and public IP has been changed. So I have connected to North Virginia instance of Linux type. And over here, you can try for installation of various packages. So for today's session, we will practice for a web server. Now, web server are used for hosting websites. So the simplest server you can try, that is Nginx. Also, this can be used as a load balancer for various resources. So to install Nginx, I can try for sudo, means I'm taking permission from admin. Sudo yum is the package name. Then we can try for install command. Name of the package, we will try, that is Nginx, and I'm entering -y at the last for directly saying yes. So sudo yum install Nginx and -y. So this will download the package and install the same. Also, you can start the server by using sudo nginx command. Now, what I will do, how I come to know that this particular server is in a running state, I can check for public IP of machine and I can paste it in a browser. So here you will get output that welcome to Nginx. So in this way, you can install a web server. You can configure a web server with the Nginx package. Now, I want to show you how we can maintain a security groups. So suppose, for example, I have deleted some rules within a security group. So within security group configuration, in our case, we have added 3 rules. One, that is for SSH connection, port number 22 has been used. Other one, that is HTTP, port number 80 has been used. And one more, that is HTTPS, port number 443 has been added. So suppose I have removed these rules, you will not access, you will not have a web page on a web browser. So let's try it. So here I'm navigating for instances tab. I'm selecting for security group setting over here. So if you're navigating for security, here will be security group rules. And here you can see that these are the 3 rules that I'm having. So I will edit it. So what I will do, I will just go through this HTTP rule, selecting it, and I will delete the same. Also, I am deleting HTTPS and I am saving this. Now, I will refresh the page. I'm entering it in a new tab. And here you can see that I'm not fetching any details over the web browser. So that any firewall rules are need to be added for the web browsers on a HTTP and HTTPS level. So I will add it again. Again, I'm navigating for edit inbound rule. Here I can click on add rule, selecting HTTP protocol, which is adding port number 80. I'm adding connections from anywhere. This is my second rule. And I'm also adding HTTPS rule by searching on it. Port number 443 is being used. And I'm allowing traffic from anywhere. And I will clicking on save rules. Now I will check for this public IP again. And I'm getting the page in my web browser. So in this way, you can maintain traffic for your instances. So this is secure shell connection for Linux type of machines and installing web server into it. Now let's try for Windows type of virtual machine. We will go with installation of web server there too. So for this purpose, scenario will be like this. I will navigate for EC2 service. This will be my first step. After that, I will select for Windows Server OS. Then I will select for instance size. That instance type for practice purpose, I can go with T2 media because within T2 micro type of instance, I'm only getting 1 GB of RAM. And for the Windows type of machine, I need to have at least 4 GB of RAM so that it can work perfectly. Then I will try for connections. So for Windows type of servers, you can try for RDP connection. That is remote desktop connection. Now, when you are doing remote desktop connection, here port number 3389 will be used. It's a predefined port like other ports. And here key pair that will be used with .pm configuration, which will be used for decrypting a password on a user level. So when you are doing any RDP connection, you need to have DNS record, you need to have username. So by default, username will be administrator in this case. And third thing, password, and that can be done via decrypting a .pm file. So let's try it. So these are the possible steps I will follow. So I'm navigating for EC2 console again. From here, I'm selecting EC2. I will click on launch instance. Here I'm naming this as Windows Server. I'm selecting application OS as a Microsoft Windows. Instance size I will keep as T2 medium, which is higher than T2 micro, but it's in a charge. So you will get bill for 0.0644 USD per hour. It will be minimum in rupees. Then here I can select for key pair. Either you can go with the existing key pair or you can create a new one. So if I'm checking for my downloads folder, I'm having existing key pair with me. So I will use it. No need to create key pair every time. Then we are having network setting. Here we are selecting a VPC, that is virtual private cloud, subnet, which is the default. And for every machine, if you are connecting from the internet, you have to have a public IP assigned with machine. In security group, I am allowing traffic on a HTTP, HTTPS level when we are practicing for the web servers. And I am allowing traffic for RDP level as well. So this rule will add 3389 port in inbound rule. This rule will add 443 rule, and this will add port number 80 in an inbound traffic. As per the storage level, we will have 30 GB of space, 30 GB of volume will be selected automatically. And at last, I'm clicking on launch instance. So in this way, I have launched Windows type of virtual machine from EC2 service, and we have launched it in a North Virginia data center. So we have to wait for a few minutes until this instance will be in a running state. So we have to wait for at least 3 to 4 minutes because Windows take too much time. Until then, I'm just checking for chat whether any messages are there. Okay. Fine. So here will be scenario after RDP connection. So after doing RDP, means remote desktop connection, from my physical machine to the virtual machine, which is running in North Virginia, I will try for installation of IIS server, that is Internet Information Services. When you are going through IIS server installation, you will get one folder within a C drive. So within C drive, we will get inetpub folder. Within inetpub folder, we will have default directory, that is www root. And within www root, you will have a default page that can be hosted automatically on public IP of virtual machine. So after checking for this page, installation of IS server will be validated, and then we can check for a public page. And these settings for installation purposes will be in a server manager. The server manager is used for management of servers, and within server manager, you will have add roles and features option, where you will go with IS server deployment. So I'm checking for instance now. So my Windows server is in a running state. I can select it. I can click on connect. Then I'm clicking on RDP client. From here, I have to decrypt the password. And for this, I will use this key pair. I'm clicking on get password, clicking on upload key pair. Here I'm selecting a key pair. Then I will click on decrypt password. So I have got three details over here, as we have discussed. So the details including public DNS, username, and password. So I'm downloading this RDP file, which will directly fetch for public DNS, which will automatically add username as the administrator, and I have to paste the password. So I'm just copying the password over here, downloading this RDP file, opening it, clicking on connect. Here you can see that this is fetching to this particular DNS. Clicking on connect, and then username is administrator, and I'm pasting the password. I'm clicking on OK. And I'm also accepting the certificate. And I'm signing in to my virtual machine, which is of Windows type in North Virginia. So this is fresh machine, and it will take some time to be ready. So once your machine will be ready, you can navigate for server manager. So within start itself, I'm searching for server manager, and this type of tab will be there. You can select it. Now we will try to deploy a web server on a Windows machine. So you can click on add roles and feature within a server manager, and you will get a tab. So what it's showing, it's collecting some data. You have to wait for wizard to be open. The folder that will be created within a file management, within a C drive, that will be inetpub folder after the installation. So I'm trying it again for clicking on add roles and feature. And here you can see that next button is there. You can click on it, click on role-based feature installation. And here you can select for web server feature. So when you are selecting this, clicking on next, you will have automatic .NET framework selection. You can click on next, and you can click on install. So this will install IIS server into your machine, web server, where you can host your websites. You can close this wizard in between of installation as well, and it will be run in a background. So here I'm closing everything, and I'm checking for C drive now. And here is a folder that is inetpub. Within inetpub folder, I'm clicking on www root, and this is a default web page that will be shown on a public IP of machine. So I'm minimizing this remote desktop connection. Now what I will do, I will just check for instance setting. And with an instance, I'm copying this public IP, pasting in a browser. So I should get some output on this public IP. So here we are getting a default web page of IIS server. And you can also host your own web pages. You can paste your index.html pages to the directory, and that can be shown as a website as well. So let's try it. So here I will create one index.html page. I'm just opening a notepad. And I'm just copying one of the code that I have already saved. So this type of code I'm copying. I'm just saying hello from EC2 message. So HTML tag is like this. We are starting with the HTML tag, starting with the body tag. The body tag, one header I have added, that is this is web server text. Then I have also added one paragraph, that is hello from EC2. And I will save this. I'm clicking on save as option, selecting this PC, selecting C drive. Within C drive, I'm selecting inetpub folder. Within inetpub, the default directory for hosting web pages, that will be www root. And then I'm naming this as index.html. Save as type, I will select for all files. I'm clicking on save. Then I will delete other pages that has been present in our directory. And now I will refresh this page from outside the network. And I'm getting one page over the web browser. So in this way, you can host your own website on IIS server on Windows. So rather than buying the domains, or if you want to test your website code, you can use these web servers. Now I'm showing you how to delete instances when your work is done. So let's disconnect this RDP connection. Also, let's try to disconnect SSH connection from the Linux instance. So I'm just typing exit, and I will be out of SSH. I will be out of RDP as well. But your instances will be still in running state. You will be made charge if you are overcoming free tier, or if you are launching instances of other type. So better you can select them. You can go to instance state. You can click on terminate state. It will delete the resources that you have deployed. And you can check for EC2 console. You can have instances running tab. Here should be a 0. And this one is a log. If you're checking for it, current state is shutting down, and after some seconds, it will be in terminated message. So I have shown you how to launch Linux type of machine, Linux type of EC2, how to do SSH for the same, how to install Nginx web server into it. Also, I have shown you how to launch Windows type of EC2 instance, how to do RDP connection for the same, and how to host your website in IIS server. So you can practice this at home. So if you have any doubt, you can ask. I am waiting for your replies. Yes, one question from Aishwarya. Will you please tell who can use private cloud? Okay, those organizations who don't want to share their resources on a public level, internally they are working towards some projects, they can use private cloud. For example, I'm just giving you example. So suppose you are having a banking application, right? So the app will be hosted and can be used for the customers. We can keep this app on a public platform. And when application data to be saved, where security to be maintained, we can keep this in a private cloud. And this will be scenario where we can use public cloud as well as private cloud. And this can be called as a hybrid cloud technology, where both public and private cloud technologies are being used. Okay. Any other doubt? You can also ask questions regarding EC2 and EC2 configurations. You can also unmute yourself and ask the questions. You can ask questions in Hindi, Marathi, English as well. So I'm providing some assignments for you to everyone, and you can practice it at home. So first task you can try for launching of EC2 instance of Linux type, and you can try also for Ubuntu. You can try at home for Ubuntu OS, and you have to select for T2 micro type of instance. Okay, and after launching it, try for SSH connection. That will be your first assignment to do at home. Second assignment I'm adding in a chat box. You can try for launching of and you can try for RDP connection and then try for IIS server over there. And third assignment I'm adding, you can launch Amazon Linux and you can watch recording and then practice for installation of Nginx server on it. Also, you have to do SSH for the same. Fourth assignment I'm adding, you have to check for security group settings. And over there, you have to configure for HTTP rule, HTTPS rule, RDP rule, and SSH rule. Okay, you can screenshot the chat and you can practice at home. Any other doubt? I'm calling for the names. Okay. Ms. Ankush, Ajin, Akash, Anmol, Arvind, Geeta, Mushtaq, Ramesh, Rohit, Umesh, you can ask questions. Okay, do you have any doubt regarding the steps to follow? You can ask that one too. Okay, fine. So I'm stopping here and management will talk to you. I'm also unsharing this screen.
Thank you so much, sir, for this wonderful session. And I also want to thank you everyone for this active participation.